What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I'm bringing you a profile update that you have been requesting. Today it is the turn of Pure at Ignistas. That's right, this doesn't involve any malice, this is literally just focused on at Ignista cards. So what I'm going to do in the video is I'm going to take you through the profile, talk you through what we've got, why we've got it, how it works, and go from there. If you want to see either a dedicated combo video or just generally quite a few combos for this deck, then make sure you get the video above 50 likes in the first 24 hours. If you are able to do that, I will then bring you that video as additional content. So with all of that out of the way, smash the like button, hit the notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on anything more coming up. Diving headfirst into the profile, we start off with our first Ignista monster being a Chi-Chi. So for those of you unfamiliar with the at Ignista art type, as I haven't done it for a while, I will take you through all of the effects. So if this card is normal or special, you get to add a level 4 or lower at Ignista monster from the deck to the hand, except itself. At the start of the damage step, when you Cyverse monster battles, you get to banish this card from the graveyard to destroy that monster you control. You can only use the effect once per turn. Now the benefit of something like the Chi-Chi is it will allow you to play backup at Ignista, which is the more expensive card in the main deck. It's sitting around about £10 per copy, at less if you wanted to, and in the space of the other two copies you would go down more of a risk route, but you'd be able to play Signet Mining, as that will then give you another route to get to any of your Ignista Cyverse monsters, but it's just one of the ones that doesn't respect draw as much as you might do in this current format, but it's something you could definitely be looking into. Then we have free Picari. Now, as this is pure, you want to be maxing out on these. There are so many more better AI Ignista spell cards now, which means Picari is going to be even more relevant. But these are one of the ones where you could sacrifice it down to 2 should you need to, or be a little bit tighter on space, or just have a preference to want to play a different card and not bump the deck over 40 too much. So if it is normal or special, you get to add an AI spell from your deck, spell or trap to be specific, from the deck to the hand. Target an at Ignista monster you control and its level becomes 4 until the end of the turn, which is quite important for either rank 4 plays or even synchro plays as well. We then have one Brew, which is of course going to be your tuner. If it is normal or special, you get to send one Ignista monster from the deck to the grave. And if this card is sent to grave as material for a synchro of a Cyverse monster, you get to target any monster in your graveyard that was used for that synchro summon, except itself, and special summon it. So the other material you use to make that synchro summon, you will bring back. And the synchro play you're going to be making is going to be one of the brand new cards you'll see in the extra deck a little bit later on. Then got the one Doyon, so on normal or special, you get to target an Ignista in your graveyard and add it to the hand. If this card is sent to grave as material for a link summon of a Cyverse monster, you get to target an AI spell in your graveyard and add it to the hand. We've then got one Danmari, so when an attack is declared involving your at Ignista monster, you get to special summon this card from the hand, and if you do, negate that attack. While you control a Link 6 monster, you get a quick effect to banish this card from the field or graveyard, to target one face-up card your opponent controls and negates effects until the end of the turn. Now that is obviously going to be a little bit more effective if you are utilising the Arrival Cyverse at Ignista, which I still feel in a Cyverse Ignista build is one of the best boss monsters you can have, but it is now slightly optional just because you have so many more ways to go into some of your high levels. But I'm going to be showing you 16 cards in the extra deck, so you can pick and choose which one you'd want to get rid of in order to kind of fit in the Arrival Cyverse at Ignista. Then we've got the one Gatachi at Ignista. So the first time each Cyverse monster you control would be destroyed by a card effect. Each turn it is not destroyed, but it's very rare you're going to leave this on the field to that effect to be in play. Additional effects is you get to target a Cyverse effect you control, negate its effects, and if you do, special on this card from the hand, so it does act as a free extender. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you get to target a face-up monster you control. That target is unaffected by your opponent's card effects until the end of your opponent's turn, which is actually really important because it means they can't Nibiru that particular card, which sometimes does come up. Then we have the brand new backup at Ignista. So if you control a Cyverse that was specialed from the extra deck, you get to special on this card from the hand. If this card is normal or special, you get to add a dark Cyverse monster from the deck to the hand, except itself, and then discard one card. So obviously you do then start opening up the access to Doyon if you want it, but then you're also going to go into the other brand new card being the Wizard at Ignista. So if you control a Cyverse monster that was special from the edge deck, you get to target a dark Cyverse monster in your graveyard and special on both this card in your hand and that monster in defense position. You can't special from for the rest of the turn except Cyverse, which in this deck is absolutely fine because you're only ever going to be summoning out Cyverse. You get to banish this card from the field and then target a monster your opponent controls and change its battle position. Very rare that's going to happen. But the idea behind this one is, again, backup is a tuner. So if you were to go down a synchro, you can do. But more times than not, that's where a Chi-Chi comes into play. Is technically you can normal summon down the Chi-Chi, search search out the backup Ignister, link off the Achichi into the link 1, search you out your field spell being the AI Island, and then go into your backup Ignister and just kind of build and build and build. And you'll understand a little bit more when I show you AI Land of how if you have a clear main monster zone, you get to special summon Ignister from the hand as well, and that's how backup's going to get into rotation. And then you've got the ability of linking off the backup plus the link, and then working your way into Wizard, and it just goes and goes and goes and snowballs. We are playing the 1 Hirari of the Ignister, so if you control an Ignister monster, you get to special summon this card from the hand. You contribute one other Cyberse monster to add a level 5 or higher Ignister monster from the deck to the hand, and if you do, this card's level becomes 1 until the end of the turn. Then if you tributed a link monster to activate the effect, you also get to add a AI ritual spell from the deck to the hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. We also get to utilize Cyverse Sage. This is one you might want to be dusting off if you don't know it already. So this one came out in Syac. It is a Cyverse Ritual Tuner and Effect monster. You get to ritual summon this card with Cynet Ritual during your main phase by banishing materials mentioned on it from your field or graveyard, including a Cyverse monster. If this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material, you get to target one of those monsters or a ritual spell in your graveyard and add it back to the hand. So it just gives you free recursion, which is really, really important. And I'll talk you through how you're going to be summoning this, because you'll see we don't actually play the ritual spell as we go through it, because you do have some really kind of cool cards that are going to allow you to utilize this very soon. We are on 2 of the Ignister AI Land. There we go, get there eventually. You don't need to play 2 of this. I just like 2 for the grind game and just for those ones if they do stop my Dark Ignister that's searching it out. And it kind of gives you a little bit more versatility, but that's just me being slightly overcautious. You can very easily play something like a Crossout, as we are playing loads of hand traps, or of course you can play a Call by the Grave. So if you control no monsters in your main monster zone, you get to special summon a level 4 or lower Ignister monster from your hand, but for the rest of the turn, you can't special summon monsters with the same original attribute by the effect of the land. Also, you can't special summon monsters except Cyverse, which again is absolutely fine, even if this card leaves the field. If this card is in the graveyard, you get to banish an Ignister monster from the grave and then set this card, so the recursion is there, which means you can rely on it less and less. But the idea is, straight away, as I've mentioned in this one, normal summon down the Achichi, go into the link 1, search out the AI Land, obviously searching out the backup of the back of the Achichi, special summon down the backup at Ignister because of the AI Land, then the backup searches you out your Wizard, and you just go and go and go. Then some of the amazing spells. We've got the AI Meet You. So reveal a Cyverse monster with 2300 attack in your hand or extra deck, and then add an Ignister monster with the same attribute from your deck to the hand. So very easily done, as you have loads of different attributes. You've got fire, you've got earth, you've also got dark as well, so that's how you get even more access to your backup, which means you can rely less and less on silent mining, so you're not always a -1. However, during the end phase of the turn, you take 2300 damage if you did not special summon the revealed monster or a monster with the same name after you resolve this effect. You can't activate effects for the rest of the turn except Cyverse. Again, absolutely fine, because that's all you're going to do. Then the brand new card. I love this card so much already. AI Connect. So reveal a Cyverse monster in your hand, apply the effect based on the attribute. You can't special for the rest of the turn after this effect resolves except Cyverse, which is why these cards are balanced. So if it's a dark, you get to special summon the revealed monster, and if you do, you add a level 4 or lower non-dark Cyverse monster from the deck to the hand. If it's an other attribute, so anything but dark, you shuffle the reveal monster into the deck, and if you do, add an Ignister monster with a different attribute from the deck to the hand. So again, it's just ways of, if you open up stuff like multiple backups, you put them back into the deck, you get your Achichi, you get your Picari, and go from there. The Idol Reborn, so this is your technical searchable monster reborn as a quick effect. Target an Ignister monster in the graveyard, special summon it. You can't special for the rest of the turn except Cyverse. When an attack is declared involving 2 monsters, you get to banish this card from the graveyard and 1 card from your hand, to then target one of your AI spells or traps that is banished or in the graveyard, accept itself, and add it back to the hand. So a lot of recursion from the graveyard. And then finally, Deck Kick. So obviously the idea behind this one is you target face-up cards your opponent controls equal to the number of Cyverse monsters you control with 2300 original attack, which by the time you end your turn, you'll have like anywhere from 3 to 5, which is crazy, maybe even 6 sometimes. Negate their effects until the end of the turn. You can banish this card from the grave to then target one of your banished Cyverse and special summon it. So really kind of cool. And then finally, it's just basically the lineup of hand traps. So Ashes, Chummies, Nibs, Bells, Veilers, Imperms. Very straightforward lineup. You play what you have access to. You've got loads of space for this. You can play any of the hand trap lineup that you wish and kind of just adapt it and make it your own. So there's no restriction on the hand traps. Heck, you go for a field breaker version if you wanted to. That just kind of shows you how much non-engine you have access to. Cool. Now let's move on to the extra deck. So I'm just going to try and rearrange these as I've kind of messed up the order a little bit here. So we'll talk about the non-links first. So for the non-links, we play the 1 code igniter. So generic rank 4, and if it is XYZ, you get to add a Cyverse ritual monster from the deck to the hand. You can detach a material from this card to then ritual summon a ritual monster from your hand by treating monsters from your hand or field whose total level is equal or exceed its level. If this card is sent to the graveyard as link material, you get to add a AI trap from the deck to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. The idea behind this, as you've already pre-mentioned, is that Picari can make cards level 4s. You can get into a generic rank 4 being the code igniter. It pretty much searches you out what you need and then summons what you need being the sage. And then the benefit of something like this is it allows you to fusion summon a fusion monster from the extra deck by banishing monsters mentioned on it from the field or graveyard, including the Cyverse. And if it's sent to go to synchro material as it is a tuner, you then get to target a Cyverse or ritual spell in the grave and add it back to the hand. Now the benefit of something like this is that will then allow you to work your way into the Cyverse Draceworm. So this requires a Cyverse ritual fusion synchro exilate or link plus a Cyverse monster. Very easily done. So during your main phase, you get to special summon a Cyverse monster from the hand. Then you can make this card's level become the same as that monster. When your opponent activates a spell, trap, or effect while you control a link 4 or higher Cyverse, which you should be doing at the end of your turn, you get to banish this card from the field or graveyard to negate the activation. So it's an extender and then a negator in the graveyard. And then just to kind of finish up the Holy Trinity before we get into the links, our synchro monster of choice will be the Firewall Saber Dragon. So this is a level 7 dragon, Cyverse synchro, and it is pretty much generic. So if this card is synchro summoned, you get to target a Cyverse monster in your graveyard or banishment and add it to the hand. You get to target one other Cyverse monster you control with a level. This card's level become that monster's. And if this card is sent to the graveyard as link material, you get to add an AI spell from the deck to the hand. So you can see there's a lot of searching, which is where Draw and Lockbird does become a bit of a pain in the backside for it. But it does also have a lot of resource recursion from the grave and everything else in between. And all of these pieces being able to adapt their levels just makes it a little bit easier should you want to make some rank 4s, whether you want to be making some other synchro plays, you name it, you've got loads of different options. So that's it for the non-link lineup. And as I mentioned, I'm going to be showing you 16 cards in the extra deck. Mainly going to be talking about your higher level link monsters, which when we get to them, I'll mention which ones you want to be aiming for. As you kind of don't want to be playing 3 level link 5s and a link 6. You kind of want to balance it a little bit more, but that is entirely up to you. For our link 1s, we do have the 1 link spider, so turn a nib token into an effect monster, get it out of the main monster zone into the extra monster zone, and that's where your AI island can come into play a little bit more as well. 1 Linkaribo, and then 1 Dark Infant. You can play 2 Dark Infants if you want to. Honestly, it's more so that if you're going to get a card ripped from your extra deck, this is one of the ones that they may or may not target. 1 is more than enough. You just need to be slightly cautious if you feel that this could be a threat, and that's when you want to bump it up to 2. The 1 G Golem Crystal Heart. The benefit of this one is it's generic for 2 Cyverse monsters, and you get to target an Earth Link monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So it can bring back Spider if you need to, but more times than not, it'll actually end up trying to bring back Transcode Talker later on in the game. Splash Mage. We should all know what this does by now because, you know, Malice are abusing this, and I wouldn't be surprised if Malice gets this card banned, but this is something you need to be aware of. Cyverse Wicked, so this one definitely needs an upgrade. It's been like a common since day dot, which I believe it was Savage Strike, which is, what, like 2 years ago? Crazy. So Link Summon card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect. Cyverse monster this card points to cannot be destroyed by card effect. If a monster is special to a zone this points to, while you control this monster, except in damage state, you banish a Cyverse monster from the grave and then add a Cyverse tuner from the deck to the hand. Well, what Cyverse tuners do we currently have? Well, you can go for a Sage if you want another route on that one. You could also work your way into a backup at Ignista, which by the point you've done that, you have a monster from the extra deck, so backup is going to be a nice extender. You then also have the ability, once I get to it, where are you, Mr. Buru, to go for green jelly in the form of Buru at Ignista, but more times than not, you're probably going to go for backup. Then for our link 3s, we have our Fire, 2300, so this is your reveal to get you your Achichi. You've got your Dark in the Dark Templar that can work you into a backup. You've got your Earth in the Transcode, which I believe, which one are we going for in this one? We kind of need a light to get your Picari to kind of make it worthwhile. The Earth is actually a level 1 that we don't play, so don't need to worry about that one. But the idea behind Transcode Talker is it brings back a link 2, and then of course you work your way into your higher level monsters. So for clarity, the next 4 cards I'm going to show you, you would ultimately choose 3 of the 4. More times than not, you're probably going to be choosing 2 out of the next ones I'm about to show you, and then I'll show you the last card. Well, actually, I'll show you the last card first. So you'd probably more times than not going to be playing your Allied Code Talker Agnista because this card's just crazy. So if this card is Link Summoned, you get to special summon as many Cyberse monsters with 2300 attack from your graveyard as possible to zones this card points to. And if you do, this card gains 500 attack for each. Also, you can't special summon for the rest of the turn. And then when your opponent activates a card or effect, you get a quick effect to tribute one of your Link monsters this card points to, negate the activation, and if you do, banish that card. So the benefit of something like this is when you make it, you're going to have the ability to bring back a Transcode Talker, to bring back a Dark Templar at Ignister, and then on top of that as well, also bring back a Decode Talker Heat Soul, which will give you the ability to burn and draw during your opponent's turn as well. So they're the three you're ideally bringing back. So that's kind of what you want to be focusing on. So you'll probably definitely be playing this, and then you'll be playing 2 out of the 3 that I'm about to show you. The more competitive, the more interactive are going to be your Firewall Dark Fluid and your Firewall Singularity. But if you're so tied to Ignistas, which I kind of feel like I am, it feels criminal to build an Ignista deck and not feature this card, but it's not the most effective way to play the deck. So it's more of a nostalgia and utility for Ignistas to involve this card rather than it is actual practicalities. So for each of these, your Dark Fluid Dragon is a Link 5, and this is, Link 5 there, and then 2 Link 6s there. So if this Link Summon card, you get to place counters on this card equal to a number of different types of Cyberse monsters in your graveyard, Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, XYZ. By the time you make this, you should have one of each of those there already. This card gains 2500 attack for each counter on it, so it can go to a fat stack push for an OTK. And then what you have is when your opponent activates a monster effect, you get a quick effect to remove a counter from this card, negate the activation. Also, if this effect was activated between this card's attack declaration and the end of the damage step, it can make another attack in a row. Now, that's not even a hard one to return. That negates, you just keep on going and going. Your Firewall Dragon Singularity has a quick effect to target cards your opponent controls or in their graveyard up to a number of different card types, Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, XYZ you control and or in your graveyard, return them to the hand. Also, this card gains 500 attack for each card returned. And if a monster this card points to is destroyed by battle or card effect, by battle and specifically sent to the graveyard, target a Cyberse in your graveyard and special summon it. So you can see how these are the most interactive too. And your Arrival Cyberse at Ignister is basically just a boss monster that sits there and goes, come at me bro, you got a kaiju or not. So this requires 3 monsters with different attributes. You can only control 1 Arrival Cyberse at Ignister. The original attack of this card becomes 1,000 times the number of link materials used for its summon, which more times than not you're probably going to be going anywhere from 4 to 6 to do so. It's unaffected by other card effects, and then once per turn you get to target one other monster on the field, destroy it, and if you do, special summon an Ignister token to a zone this card points to. Now, if this effect was a quick effect, then you'd have something to think about, because you've got cool, negate, bounce, destroy, which would have been great. So logic would dictate if you wanted to play this deck as competitive as possible, you'd cut this guy out. If you are very nostalgic, you would probably keep this in, and you'll be cutting one or the other, depending on which one you want to play and which one you don't. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty much it for the entire At Ignister profile. So shout out to Joe who helped me put this one together. He is more of an At Ignister player than I am, but it's one of these ones that once the cards like backup At Ignister got a little bit cheaper and the Allied Code Talker became cheaper, I was like, you know what? I haven't played At Ignisters for a hot minute. I would love to put this deck together and give it a roll to see how it does on its own. Unfortunately, when I was looking online to try and find versions of this deck to see where it currently stood and kind of builds, a lot of it was all Malice. And I was like, I'm not being funny. Yeah, okay, it's probably the better way to play Malice. But then you're not playing like the classic cards like Buru, Picari, Achichi, I Meet You, Connect, all of these cool cards you weren't really utilising. So I was like, you know what, I want to go back to playing the Jelly Bean deck, and I want to play the Ignister deck. So that's kind of why I decided to put it together. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you do have any questions, by all means, put them in the comments down below, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. As I said at the start of the video, if you want to see a dedicated combo video for this deck, then please make sure you get the video above 50 likes in the first 24 hours. When you hit that like button, it shows me that you want to be seeing more of that particular deck, and that then allows me to set my time aside in order to bring you more content. And kind of go from there to give you as much information as I possibly can leading into busy periods. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe and happy dueling.